Material factors such as population size and wealth form the bedrock of a state's power. These elements are not merely statistics. They are pivotal in determining a nation's capacity to sway the currents of global politics. When we examine the historical context of nations like China, the repercussions of weakness become starkly evident. The century of national humiliation serves as a poignant reminder that vulnerability often invites exploitation by more powerful states. In the backdrop of an anarchic international system, states find themselves compelled to adopt aggressive stances to safeguard their existence. This urgent behavior emerges from the glaring absence of a governing authority capable of maintaining peace. The ongoing debate between realism and liberalism encapsulates contrasting perspectives on international relations. Realists, for instance, prioritize state survival and power, often overshadowing ideals. This foundational framework significantly influences political strategies and responses to global conflicts. The democratic peace theory posits that democracies tend to avoid conflicts with one another, thereby promoting a more harmonious international environment. It asserts that shared values among democracies cultivate mutual trust and foster cooperation. Moreover, economic interdependence suggests that nations engaged in trade are less likely to engage in warfare, as their prosperity intertwines their interests. Nevertheless, realists argue that survival instincts can often eclipse economic incentives, leading to inevitable conflicts. The intricate role of human nature in political aggression warrants attention, as it implies that leaders, akin to Hitler, may act upon intrinsic desires for power. This underscores the complexity of structural explanations surrounding warfare. This discussion draws our attention to the pivotal role of resentment in shaping political landscapes, particularly seen in post-World War I Germany. Such intensified feelings facilitated Hitler's ascent to power, laying the groundwork for his aggressive policies. The dynamic of charismatic leadership is significant, with Hitler's ability to resonate with the German populace playing an instrumental role in his political triumph. Charisma possesses the remarkable ability to sway public opinion and secure loyalty. Hitler's military strategy was characterized by three key axes targeting Leningrad, Moscow, and Ukraine. Each axis was imbued with distinct objectives and faced unique challenges. The central focus on Moscow, however, risked diverting essential resources from potentially more vulnerable regions, such as Ukraine. The fierce determination exhibited by Soviet soldiers proved pivotal in their resistance against German advances. This remarkable bravery often gets overshadowed in discussions about the profound impacts of war and military strategy. Contextualizing this within the historical framework of previous invasions, such as those by Napoleon, reveals insights into the challenges confronting invading forces in Russia. The infamous harsh winter and the resilient nature of local populations have consistently thwarted military ambitions. In April 2008, NATO's announcement concerning Ukraine and Georgia ignited vehement opposition from Russia, marking a watershed moment in international relations. This action compelled Russia to draw a definitive red line. Prominent political figures, such as Angela Merkel and George Kennan, issued warnings regarding NATO's expansion, recognizing it as a potential catalyst for regional instability. Their insights underscored the complex tapestry of geopolitical strategies. Despite clear signals emanating from Russia, the West's unwavering push for NATO's expansion post-2008 materialized as a grave miscalculation, leading to dire consequences that culminated in the outbreak of war in 2022. Believers in NATO expansion argue that it bolsters peace and empowers sovereign nations like Ukraine in their decision-making processes. This perspective, however, starkly contrasts with Russian viewpoints. Despite NATO's intentions to promote stability, its expansion has incited skepticism and resistance from Russia, which perceives it as a provocative maneuver rather than a stabilizing force in Europe. This profound misunderstanding complicates geopolitical relations. The potential for a ceasefire and the emergence of a frozen conflict suggests that, while active hostilities may cease, underlying tensions are likely to endure. This scenario raises critical questions regarding the long-term security dilemma between Russia and Ukraine. The Minsk Accords, aimed at resolving the civil war in eastern Ukraine, ultimately faltered, resulting in a deep-seated distrust between Russia and the Western leaders involved. Putin felt misled by key players in the negotiations. Nevertheless, amidst this prevailing distrust, the potential for nurturing individual relationships among leaders remains. Fostering personal trust could pave the way for meaningful dialogue, transcending the structural distrust. Moreover, this discussion posits that even in the event of Putin's replacement, the new leadership might adopt a more hardline and distrustful stance toward the West. Thus, alterations in leadership alone may not suffice to resolve the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. The concept of mutually assured destruction conveys that nuclear weapons tend to diminish the likelihood of conflicts between great powers. Nations become increasingly reluctant to engage in warfare if it threatens total annihilation. Reflecting on the historical context of nuclear weapons usage reveals strategies centered on risk manipulation, particularly evident during the Cold War era. Nations often resorted to threatening limited nuclear strikes to signal seriousness without escalating into all-out war. Contemporary tensions, exemplified by the ongoing war in Ukraine, underscore how the presence of nuclear weapons intricately affects decision-making processes. Should Russia perceive a loss, the risk of nuclear weapon deployment in a limited capacity significantly escalates. The Cuban Missile Crisis serves as a case study of the paramount importance of communication. Miscommunication during this period nearly spiraled into a nuclear conflict, as President Kennedy's intentions were not fully articulated, underscoring the high stakes involved. The enduring Israeli-Palestinian conflict accentuates the necessity of addressing fundamental issues such as occupation and resistance. Historical uprisings illustrate a persistent cycle of violence intricately tied to oppression. The prospect of a two-state solution remains fraught with contention, particularly as current Israeli politics seem to drift away from this resolution. The waning interest in this solution complicates future peace endeavors. To facilitate a viable two-state solution, collaboration with both Hamas and the Palestinian Authority is essential, despite current Israeli leadership's resistance. Such cooperation is vital for the establishment of a credible Palestinian state. Reports indicate that the Israeli military's ground invasion of Gaza may encounter fierce resistance, leading to potential Israeli casualties that could sway public support for ongoing military actions. Such dynamics raise critical questions about the feasibility of defeating Hamas. The influence of the Israel lobby within the U.S. complicates the quest for peace, often conflating American and Israeli interests while resisting efforts toward a two-state solution. This intricate dynamic possesses historical roots that significantly shape U.S. foreign policy. The Israel lobby's considerable power obstructs diplomatic efforts, hindering the U.S. from applying meaningful pressure on Israel for resolution. This dynamic carries significant implications for peace in the region. It is crucial to recognize the distinction between Jewish identity and the Israel lobby, as many Jews oppose the lobby's influence and policies. Grasping this difference is essential for fostering a more nuanced discussion. Criticism directed towards Israel is frequently misinterpreted as anti-Semitism, establishing a barrier to open dialogue. This conflation complicates the discussions surrounding the Israeli-Palestinian conflict and its historical underpinnings. The historical context of anti-Semitism unveils a long-standing pattern of hostility, often perpetuated through conspiracy theories. This context is indispensable for understanding the current attitudes and policies. The idea that interest groups significantly influence both American and Israeli policies is explored, emphasizing that these groups operate transparently rather than as hidden conspiracies. This transparency holds considerable weight in political discourse. As the conversation unfolds, it touches on the risks associated with equating criticism of Israel with anti-Semitism. Promoting healthy debate is paramount for both Jewish communities and the broader society's understanding. The concept of the Iron Wall conveys a strategy that punishes civilians to enforce submission. Yet, this approach has proven to be misguided and counterproductive over the long term. Notably, despite attempts to eradicate Hamas, the harsh reality is that such efforts may merely result in the emergence of new resistance groups, thus perpetuating the cycle of violence. Public opinion has witnessed a dramatic shift against Israel, with protests advocating for Palestinian rights significantly outnumbering those supporting Israel. This trend signals a global backlash against established narratives. The importance of negotiation in the context of the Ukraine conflict stands out. Missed opportunities to engage in dialogue may have propelled prolonged hostilities, with General Milley's perspective underscoring the need for timely diplomatic interventions. Geography plays a pivotal role in shaping military strategy, especially concerning the formidable challenges that amphibious operations pose for China in relation to Taiwan. The control of Taiwan is deemed essential to contain Chinese military expansion. The discourse emphasizes the geopolitical significance of Taiwan and its integral role within U.S. alliances in East Asia. The United States must uphold its commitment to defend Taiwan, thereby reinforcing support for regional allies. As the speaker articulates, international relations should be approached through a realist framework rather than a moral lens. This perspective fundamentally shapes ambitions for U.S. dominance in the global arena. The potential emergence of a bipolar world, characterized by the U.S. and China as primary superpowers, raises concerns about intense security competition and the possibility of proxy conflicts reminiscent of historical wars. The speaker raises the prospect of future conflicts in the Middle East, accentuating the necessity for the U.S. to adopt a smart containment strategy to avert direct military confrontations that could escalate tensions. Maintaining a robust military presence in East Asia serves as a strategic measure for the United States to effectively contain China while contributing to regional stability. This strategy is designed to preempt escalation into broader conflicts. The significance of rhetoric in the realm of international relations cannot be overlooked. The exchanges of words between leaders possess the power to either avert or ignite conflict, making effective communication vital for sustaining peace. Lastly, nationalism and the Industrial Revolution significantly contribute to the decline of empires throughout history. These factors have not only shaped the geopolitical landscape, but have also influenced the emergence of new nation-states. The arguments against immigration frequently neglect the historical facts illustrating how immigrants have enriched American culture and the economy. Their contributions have been monumental, positively shaping societal evolution. Interestingly, Hispanic and Asian immigrants are integrating into American society at a more effective rate compared to earlier European immigrant groups, demonstrating the nation's adaptability and resilience. This trend challenges the notion of cultural separation. Furthermore, the increasing prevalence of intermarriage among different ethnic groups serves as a bridge, dismantling cultural barriers and fostering unity in diversity. This phenomenon showcases the importance of love and relationships in building integrated communities. The importance of maintaining enthusiasm as we age comes to the forefront, revealing how vibrant energy can profoundly influence our lives. It remains crucial to stay fearless and bold in our pursuits. Recognizing the support and respect of others plays an instrumental role in nurturing meaningful conversations and relationships. Cultivating mutual respect enhances our collective understanding of the world. Lastly, the dialogue reflects on how learning from wise individuals can profoundly shape our perspectives, inspiring us to transcend our immediate experiences. This enriching journey is undoubtedly worth undertaking,